I purposely forgot it. They're always hard to play. You know, like I think one of the journalists said, you know, why are they so, I think referenced our record up there, and you know, like you hear it, but what I remember most is that they're really good and they're at home. And, you know, we look forward to going up there. We really look forward to going up there and using it as a really early sort of barometer of where we are. But my last memory of Toronto, I have selective amnesia.
What do you think Jimmy will bring to the team?
Just what we all know, you know, you got sort of a sparring partner for Kawhi. You have an all-star that's now on our team. And there's a newness that, you know, the history of what we might or mightn't have done in Toronto is irrelevant to him. You know, he doesn't care. So like it's a new day and we got a new team and we're feeling good about the direction that we are heading. You know, I think there's a slow brewing inner confidence within our group that is warranted. And, you know, they've been fantastic in practices or NBA versions of practice, focus, discipline, asking questions, film sessions, professional. And we look forward to going to Toronto and seeing, you know, where we are at in early December.
Brett, how much of a difference does it make that you can go up there and they just can't throw Kawhi on Ben every single possession down the floor? Because he really struggled with the turnovers.
Good point. Yeah, it does. It makes a big difference. You know, and I think we're all seeing, you know, as this situation unfolds, as this season with Jimmy unfolds, you know, you're learning stuff all the time of what used to happen that doesn't happen, and what could happen, offensively and defensively. And it's just the growth of the inclusion aspect of Jimmy Butler coming into the program. Your point is fair, and I think the other side benefits that we're seeing, experiencing are quite substantial.
How did Wilson and Jonah look today in practice?
How did Wilson and
Jonah?
They look good. I expect them to play tomorrow. They be available, Jonah available, Wilson to play. Just going through just the continuing to beat up on vanilla. You know, we want to get really good at simple. And we walk through basic stuff and, you know, stuff that we just sort of aren't letting go of to reinforce the messaging, to reinforce, you know, the fundamentals, the basic stuff of pick and roll defense as an example, some basic, you know, off the ball stuff as an example. Offensively, a lot of situations, down 3 seconds left, what do? You watched that Toronto-Denver game last night, and, you know, Toronto had to go the length of the floor. They needed a 3 without a timeout. You watched that Toronto-Denver game last night, you see Ibaka foul Jokic when the ball had not been inbounded, and the punishment is lethal. They got the ball, you get a free throw and the ball back. You see some of the jump ball situations that are happening around the league. We go overboard with situations. You know, every day we come in and we look at the close games the previous night, select situations, show them in a film session to our team, and that concluded today's practice.
What kind of progress have you seen since he's been able to get more run on the court?
Defensively, you know, he understands, like, that's the area where this thing unravels. You know, we hope he makes shots, but we demand he plays defense. And if he can, you know, do that, then he's got a chance to be on the floor. And I think that he's prideful and capable, and he understands, like, that's his role, that's his blueprint, to you either play or you don't. And I think lately he's been really good. He's a great kid, he's fantastic to coach, and his heart's in the right place in relation to wanting to improve. And being with JJ, I think, only can add to all of that.
When do you think you guys will get to strawberry and chocolate, whatever, if you will, Brett?
It's going to be a ways away. Like, we'd all be quite naive to think like this team is evolving with stuff that we don't know that could happen, with stuff that we see in front of us. And, you know, it's going to be a ways away. I always tell everybody, check in with me after Christmas, and I can answer it better. But what I will say is it's still a ways away, but we are moving, you know, in the direction we all see. We're starting to play better defense. We're certainly winning games. We're doing well at home. You start judging some of the rotations, how we're starting to, you know, figure some stuff out there with pairings, play calls at the end of the game, confidence in situations that we can close out games. We have an excellent record in close games. And, you know, it's just all pointing incrementally in the correct direction.
Practice time is so limited, but if you watch Jimmy and all those guys, not knowing that Jimmy is new, you would think that they've been together for a long time. Why do you think the chemistry has been so good so far?
I think when you really try, in my opinion, when you really try to go overboard with your defense and you really try to base, you know, your program and the introduction of a new player, and you're able to revisit messaging and what's most important when you got a new voice, you got a new, set of ears coming in, and it's my job to teach him what we do. And it starts with defense. And I think that it can galvanize a team. I think that the accountability to a teammate has a further chance of growth. I think that when a team takes ownership as a team, then it has a further chance. You know, good teams are certainly held accountable by their coach, and I think great teams are held accountable by each other. And that notion I believe in. I feel like we're getting to that stage, and we'll find ways to score, but the defensive accountability is the area that interests me the most at the moment.
Brett, there have been some, at the point of the season where people start kind of guessing, from projecting MVP candidates and things like that, and Joel's name has come up. So for you, does that kind of is that just another symbol of how far you guys have come over the years, at least, that's something that your name will be mentioned in?
Well, first I think it's an intelligent mention. How can he not be? You know, when you look at the volume of double-doubles and the fact that, you know, we're starting to, you know, string some wins and so on, and we've been quite dominant at home. And, you know, it still stings, the one we lost. It's stuff usually I let go, and that still bugs me. And I think that his performance to date, how can that not be? How can he not be amongst that conversation? And as I said before, MVP is most valuable person to me. You know, I'm most interested in the defense, but I'm acutely aware of the numbers that he is producing. None so much as us winning.
It used to be a lot, most victories produced. It seems like obviously winning is important in that equation too, don't you think, Brett?
Has to be. There's no MVP. The team loses a lot. That's not my, you know, acronym for that or description of that acronym at all. It's I'm sticking with most valuable person though.
Brett, you talk about getting guys like Jimmy Butler and Wilson Chandler involved and getting them up to speed on the system and whatnot. But a couple of your assistants are in new roles too. You know, Monty's in a new role here, Billy's sort of taking the defensive side of things. Do you feel like they're sort of finding their feet in their new roles as well?
I think that's a fair point. I think it's a good point, and I think, yes, that it's kind of moving in lockstep, if you will. And, you know, Billy's been with me forever, and I've been, you know, with Monty since the start of the summer, so it's not like we sort of jumped into it in September. We put in 3 solid months of great preparatory work and philosophical agreement of what we're trying to achieve, and so the base was there. But when it gets to go time and real time, there's probably some truth to what you just said, you know, and it's there is growth, you know, all over the place. We lost Lloyd Pierce and saw him grow to the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. Coach O'Brien, you know, decided to get more into a, you know, sort of a conciliatory type role, a consultation with me and a senior advisor type role. And so you lost 2 bench coaches, and we got 2 new bench coaches. And I think we'd all be sort of naive to think that there isn't a growth there as well.
Last one. We're just going to have to ask you to be aggressive and
You know, he is to me he's fantastic because I think if you can talk with somebody, you can coach him. And he's fun to talk with. He's got such a tremendous personality. You know, he's a free spirit. There are lots of great players that, you know, have that maverick in them. And, you know, he's not like a yes sir, no sir Boy Scout guy at all, and that's fine by me. It's an enjoyable conversation. And his growth, and you can see it on his face, he shines. He's got tremendous personality. And I like that. I think that that's helpful for the team, and I'm seeing it in increments. Yeah.